Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be trying something a little bit different than what we usually do. We're going to be doing a weekly, try to do it weekly, MMA type talk show. We've appropriately called it Chokes and Eye Pokes. And what we're going to be doing is bringing you guys the latest news, hot topics, everything from the world of MMA. There's no one really in South Africa that does something like this. So my co-host Jack and I are hoping to be the first people to bring that to you. So if you like this video and if you like this episode, please do consider subscribing, liking the video, sharing it far and wide, and really giving us your feedback. We're going to try to do this, as I say, on a weekly basis, and we really want to know what you guys think about it. So we really hope you enjoy it. You guys know me by now, Vern from the Hack Check podcast. I'm going to introduce you to my co-host, who's my cousin Jack. Jack, you want to introduce yourself to the people?
Yeah, sure thing. Nice to meet you guys. Yeah. Well, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Thanks, Jack. Look, Jack and I were sitting talking a while back about MMA and the latest happenings in MMA, and I thought we should probably film this. We had a couple of interesting topics, and there's a lot really going on in the world of MMA lately. The first topic we're going to discuss is Francis Ngannou signing for PFL. What do you think of the whole deal?
That's big news. In terms of like what he should have done is like not have left the UFC. Ideally,
You think so?
yeah. I mean, like it was smart to have like stood his ground when he did, but like I don't know. I think like we're not in the best situation now where he's not like in the UFC.
I mean, okay, so just to run through everything, the UFC were the first people to give him the offer, or give him an offer.
Yeah.
Which, according to reports, was $8 million to fight John Jones, which is, for the UFC, I mean, that's guaranteed money. It's a lot.
And that's, like you were mentioning that's like aside from pay-per-view, and then also like any win bonus or like fight of the night or...
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I think it was 2 or 3 more fights on top of that. But I think he said something in the line of that, it was great money-wise, but he felt like he would not be free, in a sense. I think he wanted a little bit more input, and now that the PFL deal came through, you could see he wanted a little bit maybe more of like a creative control type of thing, and some executive decisions. And then after that, there was the one championship deal, which apparently he wanted to be on the board, and then he wanted $20 million guaranteed. Which I don't even know if one's making that type of money to be able to pay fighters that.
Yeah.
But they abruptly said no. And now I've actually got the breakdown of his deal with PFL right here. And let's see, if he made the right call or not.
Yeah.
So what they say is it's 2 to 3 fights. So 2 to 3 initial fights. They guarantee him a high 7-figure purse. So high 7-figure purse at least should be 5 or 6 million per fight. And then also a split of the event's net profit. So also on the pay-per-view, a signing bonus to serve as a brand ambassador. The right to have his own sponsors in the cage. I think that's also something that he was unhappy about with the UFC, was not being able to have your own sponsors and having that forced on you.
Yeah.
Non-exclusive with regards to boxing. So I think that's also another thing. So when he says he wasn't free, that's probably what he wanted to do. He wanted to probably have Zuffer Boxing or one of those help him out. And then a minimum salary. This is an interesting one. A minimum salary for his opponents. It says here 1 million, but he himself said 2 million.
I wonder if that's like maybe it was like a preemptive thing where he would have seen that like maybe if he got an opponent and then he's just going to like walk away with the larger person, the actual organization's not really going to like take the accountability of like, you're paying more equitably all their fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, so you think he should have stayed with the UFC?
Yeah, I mean, like just because, I mean, to see like a Francis Ngannou fight against John Jones like that, I mean, that's like a question that we're not going to get answered then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you look. I mean, if you think about it, the UFC is obviously the biggest organization in the world. 8 million as a base pay is phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, I besides Conor and maybe Habib, I think they paid Habib 10 million a fight.
Mm.
That's major. Like, that they really chucked it out. Put it out there for him.
Yeah.
But above that, like you say, like, we're never going to see a John Jones and Gane. Well, for now, we're never going to see it happen. And we're never going to see a lot of the other matches. Like, I wanted to see Pavlovich fight him.
Yeah.
I actually thought
Yeah.
Pavlovich was going to be the biggest threat to Ngannou because we didn't know what
The
John
power.
Jones exactly.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see now. I mean, look, money's not everything. He's going to get enough money at PFL. And then there's a lot of other interesting things there. I mean, like, obviously the sponsors there. He's going to want a box. He's going to be on the board, and that's something that, I mean, even Conor McGregor wanted at UFC. Conor McGregor wanted shares in the company. He wanted to be. He makes his own decisions, but he's not on the advisory board. So Francis got a good deal at PFL, I think.
Yeah, maybe like a good business decision. Like, I think maybe he had all his knee issues. Maybe he's just like, he did realize he couldn't, like, maybe go for the cash cow, like opt to, not necessarily do gimmicky fights, but like less. I mean, it's not John Jones. Yeah.
It's not the greatest of all time. I mean, that's a tough fight there. John Jones is, regardless of whether John Jones's power translates from light heavyweight to heavyweight, it's still a tough fight. But then also the other interesting thing is he's obviously a brand ambassador for PFL, but then he also is going to be the president or the chairman of PFL Africa. It's quite interesting.
Yeah. I mean, like, that makes sense. I mean, he knows the industry, so it's like.
It's interesting that all these organizations are looking towards, an African event. We spoke about UFC Africa before. There's a One Championship Africa potentially happening. And now PFL Africa, they've obviously seen the potential for it.
Yeah. If you just look at like BK and Dricus and Cameron, like, I mean, we clearly have a lot of like untapped potential here, or there's like currently being tapped. And yeah, it's just like what's the gym that Dricus and Cameron CIT. I mean, like, yeah, just in terms of the quality that it looks like that gym is producing. Like, I don't know. I think that, like, it's a rapidly growing kind of I don't use the word industry, like
it's growing.
Yeah,
it's growing here. Yeah, CRT is one of them. BK, where BK trains Madford. There's actually a lot. There's actually, it's starting to become too many to name just in a quick way, which is great. And look, I mean, just to get back to the for Francis now, I think, he people said he fumbled a bag or whatever, like he wasn't going to get as much money and everything. But I think for him, it went beyond the money, because after a certain point in time, you get it's almost all the same, and there's a level of making money and enjoyment that you've got to get a fine balance with. And I think he wanted to advocate for a lot of things that he wasn't able to do, in UFC or ONE FC.
Yeah.
So, final verdict, what are you saying? Good decision, bad decision?
Oof, I think you kind of convinced me. Like, I think that it was smart. I think it's a good decision. I don't want to flip flop.
Well, look, let me add another dimension. Actually, what if he loses?
I still think probably a good decision. Financially, at least. Like, maybe not so much for his legacy, but like, maybe he's just being safe.
Yeah, look, I mean, in terms of legacy, again, we say UFC, that's number one for legacy at the moment. But, the way PFL's rising and coming up, I mean, they're probably number 2 now in the world. At least in the American market, they should be number 2 by now.
Yeah.
One's quite big in Asia but PFL in the US definitely. So I think for him it's a good decision. I think for MMA, I'm a bit sad because I wished we could have seen him against John Jones and seen him against Pavlovich.
Yeah.
But I think in the end, probably for him, a really good decision, right?
Yeah, as an individual. Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speaking of John Jones, I don't know if you saw the whole John Jones Tyson Fury back and forth on Twitter.
I did. Yeah, Tyson Fury's reaction was like a little bit bizarre. Like it was weird to see like his reaction. I think that was directed at Joe Rogan.
Yes.
And like quite aggressively. It was like in terms of saying that if they were in a room together that he would undoubtedly win, which I don't think is the case.
No. In a fight, never. No. I think Joe Rogan started it because I can't remember who asked him, but they said, if they had to put they were talking about the baddest man on the planet. And I think Joe Rogan's exact words were, if you put them in a room, John Jones is coming out with a body bag with Tyson Fury in it. I mean, you can understand why Tyson Fury would be like, I've got to defend myself, but it's such a stupid conversation because in boxing, we've seen it actually with Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
In boxing, the MMA guy maybe has 1% chance, like a puncher's chance. In MMA,
like it
is probably 0% chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they were to fight right now, maybe if you gave Tyson Fury some time to train, but not John Jones, dude. John Jones that guy is literally a murderer.
Yeah. If you allow kicks, that would be interesting though. Like a mixed rules event. That would be. I mean, like, I don't know. You could like nullify a lot of the strikes from Tyson if you had his elbows down the whole time.
So what, like a kickboxing with MMA gloves or boxing gloves? I mean,
but like, would MMA gloves be good or bad for John Jones? Is also the question.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't know because I think it would be bad for John Jones. It would be good and bad. It would be good on his offense. It would be bad on his defense.
Yeah,
but only because Tyson Fury has the power to knock you out with boxing gloves. I think John Jones will be used to power punches from MMA gloves, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really a pointless conversation. Getting this whole fantasy, boxing versus MMA because a lot of boxers think that they can just starch the guy. I think Tony Bellew just came. I don't know when he. I saw a video today of Tony Bellew saying like he used to think if they were gonna like do an MMA fight, he could just starch the guy before he gets to him.
Yeah,
and
you could take him to the ground. Like it would be like over way too quickly.
That's exactly what he said. So yeah I think it's very funny though because the moment that they spoke about a fight, Tyson Fury came out and said he was talking about a boxing match.
Yeah.
So
yeah, which is like, I mean, it would be great. No, I don't even know if I'd want like that kind of a fight. It would be very gimmicky. Like, yeah, I mean, if it's boxing, like Tyson would win. Like, I mean, what are the chances otherwise? And like, yeah, vice versa.
It's a different mindset to an actual fight because there's a lot. That's one rule set. It's boxing, and your boxing for MMA and your boxing in boxing are much different. So John Jones' game plan would be, he'd probably feel so weird having to go into just pure boxing. Being the best and being so good at everything, you never know. But Tyson Fury. What about Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury? There was a discussion of that as well. I mean, they even got into the ring. What are you thinking?
I think that one actually, it favors, like weirdly enough, I think that would favor like Ngannou. Just because like I mean like any punch can be your last. I mean, I think Tyson also said with the small glove.
Oh really?
Yeah. So it's like that would be interesting, even if it's boxing rules with small gloves. Like that fight would be more interesting. I think than John Jones Tyson Fury.
That's true. That is actually true because of the power. We still don't know if John Jones is going to be powerful at heavyweight. I know he beat Cyril like in less than a minute, but that was in grappling.
Yeah.
It wasn't. We couldn't really see him showcase his skills, but like Francis Ngannou is massive. He's a massive dude. Like when you see him in UFC, he's probably the biggest heavyweight. Him and Pavlovich will probably be very close.
Yeah.
But when you see him stand next to Tyson Fury, though, did you see the size difference? Tyson Fury is enormous.
Yeah.
And his reach is more. So that's also got to factor into it, because now you've got to try to get in the pocket for the first time in your life when you're used to standing on the outside. So,
a lot to train for, or like adjust to.
Yeah. And did you see the news of a potential fight between Sergei Pavlovich and Cyril Gane?
I did. I think that's a really cool fight, but mainly because I'm such a Gane fan. Like,
really?
I think that he's like. I remember it was John Jones when he said that like he's like the most incomplete fighter. Like that, I mean, factually yes, but like he's he's a great fighter. I don't know. He's a class act. I think he's a great ambassador for the sport. Yeah,
you're a big fan of his, eh?
Yeah, he's just like he's like a dad. He's like a cool dude.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's an interesting fight because I think like I said before, John Jones, actually there was like the question mark of John Jones at heavyweight, and I still think there's a question mark of John Jones at heavyweight because his fight was so short.
Yeah, I mean, like he could just out wrestle him like so easily.
Exactly, and also we haven't seen him take punches. We don't know if his chin's the same. We don't know if his power's the same or any of that.
Yeah,
I still maintain that Pavlovich was the biggest threat to Francis Ngannou, more than John Jones even if they were to fight, just because of that power, dude. That guy's murking people.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the problem with Gane versus Pavlovich is like if Gane wins, then like when would we see Pavlovich versus Jones? I mean, that's discounting if Stipe beats John Jones, which I don't think that's like that's far from impossible.
Yeah, what are you thinking of the Stipe? I mean, I've even forgotten about that possibility because that's supposed to be the next fight at heavyweight.
Yeah,
for the title.
Didn't Stipe get injured, or like there's some possibility that doesn't go ahead.
Okay, I thought they were targeting that for the end of the year, but it could be that could have got injured. But I mean, let's say he's not injured. I actually haven't seen anything about that. I might have missed it, but yeah, that fight, I think, don't know. I don't like Stipe's chances in that fight.
I mean, he faced a wrestler like DC, and like he got away there. I mean, but he did like that liver shot. I do think that was like a one time like kind of like trick that you can use to win. Yeah. Yeah,
but DC is tiny compared to John Jones. I mean, in the reach department.
Yeah.
And we saw also what okay, MMA maths doesn't work, but we saw what John Jones did to DC as well. So, yeah, I mean, Stipe is considered the greatest heavyweight of all time. Don't know, rightly, wrongly, probably rightly.
Yeah.
But stylistically, I'm just trying to think of a way that Stipe beats John Jones. I can't see one.
Yeah. Well, it would be like honestly a more interesting like matchup was if they swapped opponents. So if it was Stipe versus Gane, I think that's very technical. Like that's a high level fight. And then like Pavlovich versus Jones. That's really interesting.
It's probably more fair for Pavlovich and Jones to go against each other because I don't know that reach advantage, dude. John Jones is just. And I don't think Stipe wrestles with him. I think Stipe tries to stand with him, and I don't think Stipe gets close to him. I think John Jones just hits him at distance, yeah. And Pavlovich's reach, I think, is less than John Jones, but he's got a chance, and just with the power.
Yeah.
Not that Stipe doesn't have power, but I think I just don't like that fight for Stipe. But I think with him, he's at that point where it's title fight or nothing.
Yeah.
And I think he's, towards the tail end of his career where he wants to do one or two more fights maybe, and he wants to try to beat John Jones, and that's it. Yeah. I think if he's not fighting for a title, I don't think he's interested in title eliminators. So I think, they're going to give him the John Jones fight, or they're going to have that happen, and because of his legacy. But I think, if he doesn't win that, I think that might be it for Stipe.
Yeah. Well, either way, like, also a huge Stipe fan. Like, he's, also just a really cool dude.
Yeah. Look, I mean, the nice thing for us is, like, as fans and watching this, is there's so many options. I mean, like you say, you could swap opponents if that was possible, if Stipe wanted to do that. I think if Jones beats Stipe, Pavlovich beats Gane, then that's the next fight that they make.
Yeah.
And any version of those fights is something amazing that we get to watch as fans.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, throw Ty in there.
Yeah, Ty's always got a puncher's chance, bro.
Yeah.
Maybe Ty becomes becomes like the Jorge Masvidal, the guy that's like the fan favorite that gets to like
jump the queue.
jump the queue a little bit, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting to see what they do with that one. Yeah, dude. The next thing was old Aljamain Sterling and Sugar Sean O'Malley going back and forth on Twitter. Did you happen to see any of that?
I didn't see the Twitter battle. I do know like the general backstory.
So basically after, I've got it here in front of me actually. So after their little face off in the ring, obviously that was the after the last fight that Aljamain Sterling had with Henry Cejudo. So basically Aljamain Sterling said, fuck it, let's run it on July the 8th and see if you're really built like that.
Yeah.
So Sugar Sean O'Malley said, I ain't. See you August the 19th. So it looks like it. I mean, look, it was confirmed when they got in the ring or they got in the octagon after the Henry Cejudo fight.
Yeah.
But it seems like they've got a date now, August the 19th.
Okay.
That's an interesting fight, eh?
Yeah, I think so. I like that. I just like that. I think the story that's going to be told is like Sean's going to try keep him at range and like a sniper, just like pop it or like poppy shots, like be very choosy. And like your Aljamain's got to get to the back somehow. He's gonna like have to grapple, and he's gonna have to like get into Sean's guard. Yeah, I just really like those kind of matchups. I do think it like at some point Aljamain is gonna get hold of him. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like how Sean deals with that. Yeah, I don't know how many like wrestlers has he fought.
I mean, look, okay,
there's Peter.
Yeah, look, Pereira is more like he can wrestle and he grapples, but he likes to strike.
Yeah.
And they did have a couple of exchanges that O'Malley did well, and look, Pereira's maybe not a good example because a lot of people felt O'Malley lost that fight.
Yes.
Me included, to be honest. I think at best it was a draw.
Yeah.
But the people that O'Malley's fought are nowhere near the level of Aljamain Sterling. And I was the least, like, Aljamain Sterling was probably my least favorite fighter after that knee. How he won the title.
Yeah.
But dude, when he and I'm still not a fan of his antics, like outside the ring. It's a little bit cringe. I think he's the new king of cringe, in my opinion.
Yes.
And maybe he wants to be. But in the octagon, dude, like like you say, he's like a backpack.
Yeah.
So if he gets hold of O'Malley, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
I mean, that's what he did to Henry, and like that's just like he's triple C, like he's like gold,
Olympic gold medalist.
I mean, just very crazy. I mean, but to be honest, I don't think we've seen that much of Aljamain. Like him versus TJ Dillashaw, all of his commentary on it has been like, but I still dominated the fight. But for TJ to have come in so compromised, that could have been a no contest, like that, and then also his fight against Pereira.
The second one.
Yeah, the second one, that was so close. I think that also could have gone either way. And then the Henry Cejudo fight, same. I do think Henry won. So it's like I think that he's the luckiest champion in my opinion.
Yeah, look, a lot of people still feel that way. I think he quite handily won. Like my opinion, he quite handily won the fight against Pereira. Henry Cejudo, I mean, I think he did enough there, to be honest, especially as champion. But I do agree. I mean, I can see why you would say we haven't seen enough of him. I think in the grappling department we have. I feel, but. It's going to be so interesting, man. O'Malley's one of those guys that's like, when you watch him fight, he does stuff that other people don't do. And it's unorthodox in so many ways in his striking. And okay, he might not have deserved, again, my opinion, to beat Pereira.
Yeah.
But he did, and he lasted. And at the very least, he proved he could hang.
Yeah.
So, and he's young. With Aljamain, you know what you're going to get. With O'Malley, you don't know what you're going to get. So, if there was a gap, and it seems like there's a gap between the two, we don't know if that gap could have closed, with O'Malley getting better as he's getting older.
And I don't know, like, for Aljamain, does he have any other, like, challenges, really? I mean, there's Marlon, but I can't think of anyone else.
Well, he did say that he wants to beat O'Malley and then he wants to go up in weight. Which Volkanovski, don't do it, Aljamain. Don't do it, because Volkanovski, dude, against Islam Makhachev. I mean, he's training out there. He's training with Craig Jones and Aljamain. If Aljamain is a backpack for UFC fighters, Craig Jones is a bag, heavy-duty bag with about a ton of bricks in it.
Yeah.
That's the gulf in class between them on a grappling aspect. So don't do it, Aljamain. Don't go against Volkanovski.
Yeah, it's not going to work out.
Well, we don't know what's going to happen with Volkanovski in any event with, with UFC 291. Well, we'll get to that in a second. Final predictions or early predictions. What are you thinking with Aljamain Sterling and O'Malley?
I think Aljamain gets it done within 2 rounds.
What's his method of rear naked choke?
Yeah. Submission, but probably rear naked choke, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. I'll probably say, maybe definitely rear naked choke, Aljamain Sterling. Specifically, I think O'Malley might last 3 rounds, and then about early in the 4th, maybe he's gonna
get caught.
He's gonna get caught, I think, for sure. So the next thing, I don't know if you saw, they announced the UFC 291 fight card. I want to read you this insane fight card, because from the beginning to the end is just, it's okay. So we've got Michael Chiesa versus Kevin Holland, welterweight bout. Michael Chiesa, interesting dude. Kevin Holland unfortunately had his ragdoll moment against Khamzat Chimaev.
Yeah.
So not an accurate reflection on him.
What in his defense, I mean, like, to unexpectedly face a Khamzat Chimaev with a 10-pound difference is
fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was halfway to middleweight, so in his defense, What are you thinking for that fight?
With Chiesa versus
Holland.
Oof. I'm not that familiar with Chiesa, if I'm honest. I really like Holland's fighting style. I'd like to think that he always has a chance, but I can't speak too much on it.
If you had to go, I mean, just based off of their records?
Probably Holland.
I think, I'm thinking Holland as well. I think Chiesa, I still see him as a lightweight, even though he's not and he hasn't been for a long time. But I think Holland just has a bit more of... I think Chiesa's a bit more technical, but Holland has a lot more of that dog in him. So I think Holland probably as well. Not going to say how just yet. Maybe a knockout, I think.
Yeah.
Derek Lewis and Marcus de Lima.
I don't know why Derek would have taken this fight, if I'm honest. I know he's had a few losses, but he's also... I mean, he's not out of the game. Yeah, I do think he gets it done, though. He might just be building up his confidence. Maybe he's resume again, and then but it would be nice to see Derek versus a Thai Tuivasa or something. Yeah. Look,
Derek Lewis he's ranked number 11 now in the heavyweight division. And he's one of those guys that just, I think the UFC loves a fighter like Derek Lewis because, one, he's funny on the mic.
Yeah.
Before and after the fights. People want to watch him fight. He's got a big following. He's entertaining as hell when he fights as well.
Yeah.
So I think, it's a good tester for Marcus de Lima. But I do think also Derek Lewis gets it done. There's only one way he gets it done.
Yeah, knockout.
Yeah. For sure. I'm in agreement with you on that one. So the next fight is at welterweight. It's Stephen Thompson versus Michael Pereira, number 7 versus number 15. What are you saying for this one?
I mean, definitely Wonder Boy, but I don't understand why he's taking this fight and or why he was given this fight.
Look, Wonderboy is kind of floundering around that like middle of the rankings.
Yeah.
And he is also 40, and I don't know what his contract situation is, but usually they just want to. He's got a big name,
Yeah.
so the UFC needs to squeeze the most juice out of him. Let's be honest, he's probably not going to fight for the title again. Yeah. I mean, unless he pulls a Robbie Lawler or a Charles Oliveira.
Yeah,
he's not going to fight for the title.
That is fair.
So similar to Tony Ferguson, who's also on this card, who had that win streak, but then sort of floundered towards the middle of the rankings after that. Again, this Pereira is on a 5-fight win streak. I think it's 4 decisions and 1 submission.
Yeah.
So against some unknown people. So maybe again, this is one of those tester fights where they see what he's really about.
Yeah.
You can build a guy with streak. You can't necessarily build his record at 28-11 without a streak. So you have to. Maybe that's what they're looking at doing.
Yeah. Okay.
Who knows? But yeah, I mean, I think 3-round fight. I think because he's won by decision. I think for the last couple of fights, and he just came off a split decision. Pereira did. So I think Wonderboy probably by decision if he doesn't knock him out.
I mean, like I still think Wonderboy's really good. Yeah. I would say Wonderboy.
Yeah. I mean, he is still at a certain level, even though he's like sort of floundering around the middle of the rankings. But yeah, he is really good, like you say. Then the next fight we got Mr. Secret Juice, Mr. fast becoming the funniest dude in MMA, Paulo Costa versus Ikram Aliskerov. It's always a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Unranked at middleweight. What are we saying for this one?
I think Costa. I think Costa. I think it's a smart fight. I mean, just it's a bit bizarre to think that he was going to fight Robert Whittaker and then he's now fighting unranked. But like yeah, I think it's smart. He probably wants to build up his resume. Like he had that crazy fight win streak before fighting Izzy the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he's just trying to build up the resume again and then get back into like a title picture.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's the middleweight division is crazy right now. The Ikram's 14-1, so he's not a slouch. But it is so weird how he went from supposedly about to fight Robert Whittaker.
Yeah.
And what we think would have been Dricus and Adesanya to now fighting someone that's unranked, but it's crazy how things work. Dricus didn't get to fight Adesanya, so now they have their title eliminator. And I think Costa winning would put him to fight the loser of that fight. And then that would be next on the... That's my thought on that,
Yeah, I think that would make sense. Yeah.
Or Chimaev. I mean, there was that whole back and forth with him and Khamzat Chimaev. That's actually the fight that I wanted to see. I wasn't, I wasn't too. I think Whittaker puts Robert Whittaker's such a. You take Adesanya out of the middleweight division, and Whittaker's the champion for the last 8 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
So and I think he's still the gatekeeper. And look, I think it's a 50-50 with him and Dricus. There's ways for Dricus to win. There's ways for Robert to win.
Yeah.
I'm obviously hoping Dricus wins because not only because he's South African, we want to see a South African fight for the title, and you've got to make. I mean, the story's there with him and Izzy going back and forth. But
setting is set.
Yeah, it's set.
Yeah.
But because I think, and I'm a big Robert Whittaker fan, and I don't wish loss on anybody except now because I want Dricus to win. But the fights of Whittaker there's so many interesting fights. I mean, or so many interesting ways that things can go with Whittaker, because if he fights Adesanya again, it's like he's not going to beat him.
Yeah.
But you get Whittaker versus Costa, Whittaker versus Chimaev. You've got, I mean, it gives a lot of good scenarios. For him to lose. So sorry, Robert, I'm hoping you lose. But anyway, back to this fight. I think Costa as well. What is the verdict? What do you think?
I think Costa. It's a 3-round fight.
Yes.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, decision. I don't think he gets it done
Decision.
within 3. Yeah.
Yeah, true. I also was thinking decision. I don't know enough about Ikram to say, I think he's going to try to grapple with him, and Costa's going to have to counter wrestle, and then, maybe keeps it standing and strikes. So, probably decision as well. Man, we're getting a lot of the same things. I'm not trying to copy. It's just,
This is not pre-planned.
Yeah, Tony Ferguson, Bobby Green.
Well, I actually really like this fight. I really like this fight just because I think it's a good fight for Tony. Like the last year, Tony's been like on a losing streak, but like if you just look at his opponents, like Michael Chandler, like Justin Gaethje, like Charles Oliveira, like it's like the top guys, and like not to say Bobby Green isn't highly skilled, but I do think that it's more an opportunity for him to face someone that's not at the very, very top and like still produce like a quality fight. And like, I'm really excited for this fight in particular.
Yeah, this has the potential to be. I mean, okay, well, there's still one more fight that could be fight of the night, and was a barn burner last time. But this has potential possibly to be fight of the night. I can't help but feel sad when I watch Tony Ferguson fight now, though.
Yeah.
And you never know what you're going to get. And yes, he's fought the who's who now at the top, but he was the boogeyman of the division for so long.
Absolutely.
And I don't know, man. It's sad to see.
Like his Imanari rolls. If you see like those videos of like him before the Justin Gaethje fight and then like after, it just, I do get that.
And what made it so much worse is that there was no audience and you could hear all the shots with the Justin Gaethje fight. Yeah. And I don't think he's got it in him anymore. And I think in his mind, he might think he's still there, but his body, to me, I don't think he's still there. Yeah. I think he loses, and he might actually lose by KO or TKO. I think that's my feeling.
Yeah, I think if it'll really depend on the early rounds. I think that like his confidence will play an important like role in how the fight goes. If he has like a good first round where he doesn't take that much damage, maybe he just like feels out Bobby. I think he stands pretty good stead, or in pretty good stead. But in the case that like he takes too many shots first round, like I don't know, he seems like a little bit vulnerable there.
Yeah, I don't know if he can take too many shots, to be honest, anymore. I think his chin is kind of. They always describe it as a meter that, as your career goes on, that meter goes less and less and less. And I think his is damn near empty, to be honest with you. I'm not a Tony Ferguson hater, but it's just sad to see that I think he should have retired already, to be honest with you. Maybe this is his last fight if he loses, but I'm a fan of his career as a whole, but I think I think win, lose, or draw, I think this should be the one that
decides.
He calls it quits, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm going Bobby Green by KO or TKO and Tony Ferguson to retire afterwards.
Okay. I'm gonna say Tony Ferguson by decision.
Okay. And fights again or retires?
I think that I hope that he retires. I hope that he wins and he retires on the win.
Retires on a high note.
Yeah.
Interesting fight next. Well, not interesting, but interesting because it says that because of the rankings, but we've got Jan Blachowicz versus Alex Pereira at light heavyweight, of course. Interesting on the UFC, they've got number 3 Blachowicz, which he is, and then they've got number 1 ranked Pereira. I think that's still his middleweight ranking.
Yeah.
It must be, because you can't just jump into a division and be top ranked. But there was a lot of speculation with Pereira, even before his loss to Adesanya, about making weight. Apparently he goes through a monumental weight cut.
He gets apparently. I believe it was Chael that said he gets up to like almost 205. Yeah. No, sorry. It was like 218. So like he gets into the realm of like a cruiserweight. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he cuts down to 185, and look, up until the point where he lost to Adesanya, had no issues, fighting at 185. But like I say, it was always sort of a conversation for him to go up to 205, straight in the deep end, with Jan Blachowicz. What are you thinking for this fight? How do you think this one goes?
Oh, it's interesting. I can't. It's just so hard to predict because I don't think we've seen Pereira with as similar a challenge as Blachowicz. Like we haven't seen like a matchup like that for him. That being said, I do think that Blachowicz versus Izzy was informative enough to see how he deals with a kickboxer. And I think that does kind of he knows how to deal with that, just like grapple, pick your shots, and like that tends to make me think that he'll win and maintain that. We'll get that title back.
Yeah, so they said apparently. So I saw something on Reddit this morning where Blachowicz said that he's been told that if he wins this fight, he's fighting for the title next, which makes sense. I mean,
makes sense.
I mean, he should be next in line.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see if Pereira wins. If he's going to fight for the title, I mean, it would make sense. They haven't officially called it a title eliminator yet, but if you beat the guy that was going to fight for the title, if he won, it will probably all depend on how he wins, if he wins.
Yes,
Pereira.
Absolutely.
Obviously, if he knocks him out, which I think is his key to victory, I don't think he out-grapples, out-wrestles.
Yeah, I can't win on points.
No, I don't think he'd have to do the old left hook Larry and knock him out,
Yeah.
I think Blachowicz has multiple ways to win this fight. He's becoming the 185 killer. It was Luke Rockhold. Still one of my favorite knockouts of all time, just because of the way Luke Rockhold spoke about Jan Blachowicz before the fight.
Yeah.
And the way he acted. That was still satisfying to me. Anyway, and then Adesanya, when Adesanya came up from 185 to 205, beat him. So now it's the third challenger.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see because Pereira is a super, super strong guy at 185. Insane knockout power.
And anything can happen at any point. It's just so hard to predict.
So look, I think it's a different challenge for him. I think at 85, he, like I say, is super powerful. So when he clips people enough times, that meter we spoke about goes out very quickly.
Yeah.
I think at 205, different challenge, stronger people, especially Jan Blachowicz. He's actually a good kickboxer. I mean, he has a kickboxing background. He's used to taking shots, and he just looks like the type of dude you'll break your hand on his jawline if you hit him.
Yeah.
He's got that he's battle tested.
Yeah, Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I don't see a way for Pereira to win this fight unless he just gets him clean. So I think Blachowicz, and then he fights for the title. What happens to Pereira after that? There are fights for him at light heavyweight, but given his age, if he's on a 2-fight losing streak.
Yeah, where does he go?
Where does he go from there? He had the Adesanya fight. Obviously, there was a long history from their kickboxing days for the first fight, so that's how he jumped the queue for that.
Yeah,
that's how they sold that. Blachowicz, they sell because he's a former champion. What do they then do? Do they start doing sort of like dream matches with Pereira? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool to see him absolutely still fight more. I mean, there's a lot of killers in the light heavyweight division that he can go through, or like anyone in the top 10. It would be great to see just take your pick. Yeah,
and Yuri's still coming back.
Oof, yeah,
that guy.
Yeah,
samurai.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. Dude, there's so many good fights. The last fight, best fight. I'm hoping again, Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier, number 2. BMF belt, fucking BMF belt on the line. That piece of shit.
It kind of sucks because Gilbert Burns, if you look at that press conference when he accepted the fight with Bilal Muhammad, and everyone was calling for him to be the new BMF. It was just, I think that's he would deserve it more than Justin Gaethje or Poirier, who are both, I mean, BMFs, but I mean. Yeah, I don't know. They're not as active. They're kind of reaching the ends of their career. And if you look at there's just so many other fighters. It's a weird term to because everyone that fights in the UFC, can be the BMF.
Yeah, it's weird, man. It's like it started with Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal, And then if you think about it technically, Jorge Masvidal lost to Kamaru Usman, who then lost to Leon Edwards. So technically, Leon Edwards is the welterweight champion and the BMF champion.
Yeah.
My question just with that whole thing is, okay, it's fine. It's a gimmicky belt and whatever. And it's like, okay, they had The Rock come in and they thought that was stupid and whatever, you know. And I think The Rock came in, it was in Miami. But Stone Cold Steve Austin used to call himself BMF actually on his like shirt thing. So maybe because of their rivalry. But it's always going to set up, or it's going to be set up for failure because you don't defend the BMF belt.
Yeah.
Or that no one has yet.
And it seemed like a once-off as well.
Well, now it's a second time. So it's not even a once-off anymore.
Yeah. Well, like a once-off in terms of like it's for like one fight it like appears and then it's assigned and not really ever talked about and then like just like disappears into the ether for a while.
Because what happens now, you know, so it wasn't defended by Masvidal. He still has it in his house. He still would walk around with it. Now Gaethje and Poirier fight, and the winner is the BMF. If you want to be the BMF and you're not a lightweight, what do? Do you campaign and say, okay, I want a BMF belt at light heavyweight?
Yeah.
You know, are you then also saying, you know, like they have a super fight division in PFL now, it's for the people that might not fight for the title, but they want to see interesting fights.
Yeah.
Is that now going to be their version of the super fight division? Are they going to have one at every weight class? Like, all these things just don't. It's not like wrestling where you could have new belts and then people that can fight each other at different weights.
Yeah, I suppose so. Maybe it's a respect thing because you can't give them an interim champion belt because like Beneil is there and he's worked so hard. I think that he does deserve a title shot more than both of them. I mean that's tough to say because like that's such a stacked division. But yeah, maybe it's a way to say like Justin and Poirier are probably towards the end of their career. I mean, I'm not sure if retirement is in the cards for them just yet, but like it might be like a last way to get a belt.
Could be. I don't think they need it, to be honest with you. I think that fight, whether you look at their first fight or not, which their first fight was insanity. I think even if they hadn't had that first fight for us to see, I think there was enough there without a BMF title. I think the BMF title doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
In all honesty, I think that fight is also really a 50-50. It's like it could go either way. I think Gaethje is for sure going to hurt Dustin. Yeah. For sure he's going to hurt him. But I don't know if he's got enough to put Dustin away. I mean, what do you reckon?
No, that's a tough one. I don't. Dustin's just so durable, but it is like what you're saying with the glass or the chin that meter. But I have no clue what would happen. It'll be such a great fight. I love Dustin Poirier fights.
Dustin Poirier has almost had his meter go the opposite direction because if you look at his loss to Conor McGregor at featherweight, and this could be weight related because when people cut sometimes, you know, less body fat and whatever, they get knocked out easier. Dude, he's just become inevitable.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the best way to describe him is just he's inevitable. Like, it doesn't matter what happens. You even watch his fights with Conor. If you look back on it, people will say, yeah, but he dominated Conor and broke his leg and knocked him out and whatever. Conor was piecing him up before that. And like you say, he's so durable. He just rides it out and he just keeps coming forward and he's so inevitable. It was the same in the first fight as well with Gaethje. You know, Gaethje did hurt him.
Yeah.
But dude, I think
or Holloway as well. That fight was that was just a war of attrition.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he just rides it out. So I mean, I don't know. Look, I wouldn't be surprised either way that fight goes. I think look, Gaethje's got the chance to knock him out, but I just think Dustin's way too durable, and Dustin becomes a new BMF champion, and then who knows? You know, maybe you're gonna have that as maybe. He fights Islam. I don't know. I'd like to see Volkanovski.
Islam too.
Yeah, I think so. But Volkanovski's got to get past Yair Rodriguez. But
that's no easy feat.
No, that's something in itself. But that's a topic for another time. So, final prediction. What are you saying?
I'm gonna say Gaethje. I think that the work that he does with Trevor Whitman has like every fight we've seen him get better. I think that his last fight against I forgot what his name is, but also that top 5 guy. I think that he was really good with picking his shots, and he wasn't getting hit as much. And I think that if he can bring that through to a fight with Poirier and still get clean shots, I think that that's a very dangerous fighter.
Yeah, you may be right. I mean, he has gotten better at controlling it. He used to be very he used to take a lot more damage than he does now. So you're 100% correct, and I can see it going that way. But I think Poirier is just too durable, too inevitable. Definitely no way this fight goes the distance.
Yeah.
Especially for 5 rounds.
Yeah.
Definitely, probably Poirier.
I think it is a 3-round fight.
No, it's main event.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's a 5-round fight.
Okay. I'm sorry, it's Fazeev. He fought Fazeev.
Yeah.
That was a very interesting one.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to say Poirier 4th round TKO maybe again. Probably. I don't think clean knockout, but probably TKO.
Okay.
Let's see, eh?
Yeah, we'll see. If I had to, I'd probably go the other way around. I'd say TKO 4th round to Gaethje.
Could be. We'll see closer to the time.
Yeah.
Last little thing I wanna have a look at. Last 2 things really. So the first one is, I don't know if you saw Darren Till opened up his
the Guerrilla FC.
Yeah, Guerrilla FC. Or he's starting it. So yeah, what do you think about another MMA organization coming to South Africa? I think it's a good thing.
I think it's a really cool thing. I think it would be cool to bump into Darren Till just in South Africa.
Come on the podcast, Darren.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, but I out of nowhere, to be honest, I did not see that coming. I'm not sure what kind of fighters what the promotion will be looking at. But yeah, always exciting. It'll be very cool to see how big a part he plays in the promotion.
I think it would be. I agree with you. I think it's good. I think the more promotions there are now, the better. You know, if you just look at the way that EFC's done a great job, getting fighters exposure. I love that they're now building up their YouTube channel as well, EFC. So now you're getting guys that are going viral on YouTube and getting eyeballs on them. So I think it's a good thing. We'll see, like you say. The only thing, okay. Let me say it this way. The EFC is doing an amazing job with bringing fighters out there, and there's great fighters, but their pool is not that deep.
Yeah,
that's the only sort of knock, if you will, on the EFC. Their pool's not that deep. Now, if you've got Darren Till coming as well, maybe he pays more. Maybe he's a bigger name. So maybe he'll make that pool even more shallow.
Yeah.
You know, so
or draw more, or draw more attention to the possibility of being a South African fighter. You know, and then maybe it's like a step stone. I'm not sure what a fighter would take priority over, but maybe you train in Guerrilla to go to EFC or vice versa. But any sort of stimulation, I think would be good, you know.
Yeah, competition always breeds better results, you know. So even with this whole UFC, PFL, one competition is good because people have options. People don't have to be locked down to certain contracts. I'm not saying that happens at EFC or anywhere of the other places, but people have options now.
Yeah.
And also, if you look at what happened with the PFL, people have gone to UFC, failed. Not everybody, so I'm not trying to knock the PFL, but some people have gone and failed, been cut by the UFC and had a chance to go and rebuild themselves in the PFL. So it's always good to have competition.
Yeah.
The last thing that I wanted to touch on is, and maybe this is something we can make a weekly sort of review about, is Ultimate Fighter, Chandler versus McGregor.
Oh, yes. I'm quite excited. I mean, has it come out yet?
I haven't seen anything. I don't know where we'd be able to watch it in South Africa, to be honest. I think people might have to find alternative ways to watch it. I'm not going to say it.
Yeah.
But it's quite interesting. I've seen the
Yeah.
trailer. I don't know if you've seen the trailer where they sort of have you seen where they sort of square off with one another and
Like by the cage.
yeah, and then he's like, oh, have they told you what weight it is? And he's
Yeah.
like, no. He's like, we're gonna do it at 185. And he's like, oh, you want to do 185? He's like, McGregor's like, you do what you're told.
Yeah, I did see that.
And then I
was
saw the thing about them shoving each other.
Yeah.
Apparently that fight is in the works.
Yeah, it'd be great to see. It's like I don't like to see that because Chandler is actually just such a nice guy, and like I get that Connor's thing is to be antagonistic, but like that was like very patronizing. It was like whoa. But yeah, I suppose that is like his shtick. So yeah,
He's just so good at like getting under people's skin, and I think because Chandler's such a nice guy, he is going to push his buttons as much as possible and
Yeah.
try to get him to fight in an unnatural way. So that's going to be very, very interesting. I don't know with Connor, man. I don't know if he's the hunger. He's got the hunger.
yeah.
He's got so much going on, dude. Like, how do you even have enough time in the day to train?
Yeah, the documentary, the movie, like yeah,
Roadhouse.
yeah. He's still trying to get into the USADA pool. Like
Apparently
it's
that's
a lot.
done.
Okay.
He says he's done with USADA, but what Connor says and what really happens sometimes are two different things, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe they make it unsanctioned.
Yeah.
You know?
That would be an interesting fight.
Non-USADA sanction, you know, that would be interesting. Start the juice division.
Yeah.
You know?
I think Dana would probably prefer that, honestly. I mean, yeah.
Back to the good old days, you know, as long as they make that money.
Yeah.
Early predictions. Very, very early predictions.
I think Chandler wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too. I think Connor's gotten very used to, especially at featherweight, being able to bully people and knock them out very quickly. And he did that to Eddie Alvarez as well. But I still think that Conor McGregor that beat Eddie Alvarez would beat anybody at lightweight in the history, including Habib.
Yeah.
He was just untouchable.
Yeah.
He was untouchable that night. There's and then I think from there he lost
something.
He lost he lost the will. He was no longer chasing it. He got it, and that was done.
Yeah.
You know, they always say getting there is the easy part. Keeping it or staying there is the hard part. And the staying there part, I think once he got the money from the Mayweather fight, he's never been the same. Never been the same.
No, absolutely.
And I think he's so used to. He's going to go out. He might hurt Chandler in the first couple of rounds, and Chandler again so damn durable. But yeah, Chandler.
Yeah, he's going to present too many problems for him.
KO, I think. You know.
think?
Yeah, I think a KO, to be honest. He's going to try to ground upon him. I don't think he's going to try to submit him. So I think uppercut. And if it's not a KO, then it's a TKO probably.
Do you think if Conor were to lose, then he would retire? Because that's an interesting situation.
Yeah, I mean, 3 straight losses,
and like all you can say is like, "I'm here to stay." Well, okay, that's not how that's not his voice, but like, you know, like he's saying like, "I'm here to stay." Like I'm never gonna retire. So it'd just be very like, where do you go from there?
I think Conor does whatever the hell he wants to be honest, and I think he's such a big star that Dana White just sees the dollar signs.
Yeah.
But I think even though Dana White likes the dollar signs, I think there's a point where it's kind of like you start to, you know, you don't want him to turn into like a Tony Ferguson or like a Chuck Liddell came back and fought Tito Ortiz at 50 whatever years old.
Yeah.
He's going to do what he wants. But I think he should probably retire after that fight. He's also one of those guys that's probably not going to fight for a title again. Not deservedly anyway. So who knows, man? I thought he was going to retire after the last fight of the leg break. But again, you know, I want to watch his documentary, and I see it's all about redemption. So maybe he gets his redemption moment after the leg break, comes back. I just hope he doesn't go after Dustin Poirier again, because I think Dustin beats him again.
Yeah.
Who knows, dude?
Well, I do think. Well, that's an interesting one. That last fight with Dustin, I do think Conor was winning. So I do agree with you there. Yeah, I just don't know if I wouldn't want to see a fourth.
No. But I think if Conor wants it, they'll give it to him.
Yeah,
I think he'll get whatever he wants to. So It's gonna be interesting. So maybe that can be our first topic for discussion next week. Is if we get to watch the Ultimate Fighter and see what they bring to that. That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. So yeah, I think that's a good place to stop it. I think there's a lot of interesting matchups to come. I think we all as fans are fortunate that middleweight division, welterweight division, lightweight. I mean, featherweight, light heavyweight,
bantamweight as well. I mean, who'd have thought bantamweight is like one of the busiest divisions, and with such killers, yeah, it's crazy.
What a time to be an MMA fan, and not just a UFC fan. We've got, like we said, the PFL One Championship. I'm looking forward to BK fighting for a title soon as well. So closer to the time, definitely something that we'll chat about. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I say, we're going to be doing this on a weekly basis, talking about the latest news in MMA. Please leave us your thoughts in the comment section. If you haven't already, please click the subscribe button. If you'd like to contribute to the show and help us make the show better, we have got, I'm going to put the PayPal link for the show down below, and we've started a Patreon. I'll put that link in the description as well. Got some plans with the Patreon. Haven't set them up yet. We're also going to be trying different camera angles, different sets and things like that. So yeah, we're really looking forward to bringing you more episodes. Please comment down below what you thought and what you'd like to see in the future. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Hey, guys, if you enjoyed that clip, I've got another one for you over here and over here. As always, please have a look out for my socials down below, and like, comment, subscribe, and share the video far and wide. Thanks for watching.